Hey everybody, and welcome to Home with the Halsteads. Today I'm going to show you how I make baked stuffed summer squash. Vegetables are in, fresh vegetables are in, and they are so good. You know, I like for my food to look pretty as well as delicious, and this is one of those dishes that will really showcase fresh squash. So let's get started and let me tell you what I put in it. I'm starting with 3 squash, and I'm doing that because that's enough for me and Doug. You could use as many squash as you want to. And I have parboiled or pre-boiled the squash whole because we're going to be cutting these up lengthwise, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. So I'm starting with 3 yellow squash. To that, I'm going to be adding 1/2 cup of minced onions, 1/2 cup of minced onions, 1/2 cup of red and green peppers. I've already diced these, chopped them up real good, and combined them so we won't have to do that later. 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to melt that. I have fried and crumbled 3 slices of bacon, 3 slices of bacon. I'm going to add salt and pepper to taste. You can add as much or as little as you want to. And then I'm going to use just a little bit of Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. I just poured some in this little bowl. I don't know how much it is, and I probably won't use it all, but I'm just going to sprinkle that on top, just very lightly. So let's get started. Let me show you how we're going to make these baked stuffed summer squash. Okay, we're ready to put our squash together. I have lined a baking sheet here with aluminum foil, and I've already cut 2 of the squash to show you how I did that, but I saved one because I want to show you exactly how I cut it and how I scooped the middle of the squash out. So we're going to do that, and I'm just going to, I don't cut the ends off before I pre-boil the squash, so I'm going to just cut the ends off like that, and then I'm going to cut the squash lengthwise in the center. Now these squash are going to have water in them. You know, squash do have a lot of water in them. Let me grab a spoon, and then I'm just going to rake the inside of the squash out of the shell, or it's making a shell. So I'm just going to very carefully rake that out. And then I'll place that on our baking dish. And I'm going to do the other one the same way. Just going to rake the inside of the squash out. Now, you'll notice that there's water in here, and we don't want that. So I'm going to pour my squash in this little strainer that I have here. Just going to pour it in like that. And I'm going to take a fork and kind of mash it around and get all of the water out of it, or as much as I can. Squash is such a good food. It has a lot of nutrients. It doesn't have a lot of calories. And one of the reasons is because it does have a lot of water in it. Okay, I think that's good. See how much water I got out of it? So I'm just going to set that aside, and I'm going to bring our bowl back over, and I'm going to put the squash in there. Now you could puree these. I'm just going to take a knife and a fork and kind of cut them up like this before I add our other ingredients. Okay, now to the squash, I'm going to add our onions. Our bell pepper, both red and green bell pepper. Our bacon bits are fried crumbled bacon. and our butter. I melted 2 tablespoons of butter. So I'm just going to mix this all around. It's looking pretty. And you've already guessed what's next. This is so good. Let me add a little salt. So I'm about to forget that. And a little pepper. And today I'm using the regular black pepper. You know, I like white pepper, but I'm just going to use the regular black pepper to give it a little kick. Okay, now we're ready to fill our squash shells. So I'm going to bring it over. Hopefully you can see it. And I'm just going to get some mixture and I'm going to fill the squash shells. Just like that. This doesn't take long. In fact, you can boil your squash and pre-cut your peppers and your onion, and then when you get ready to put it all together, all you have to do is just do like I did. Cut your squash lengthwise, mix up your ingredients that serve as your filling, and pop it in the oven and bake it. And I have heated our oven to 375 degrees. And I'm going to bake it for about 20 minutes. Put a little bit more red on that one right there. And that one. You know, I don't like to waste anything. So now I'm going to take just a few breadcrumbs. These are seasoned, Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. And I'm just going to very lightly. I don't want much on here. I don't know if you can see how much I'm putting on here, but I'm not putting much, just a little bit. And I really like squash that are smaller than this, but this is all that I could find in the grocery store, so I got these. But I do like the tiny squash. When I was growing up, we called them number ones and number twos. Number ones were the real tiny squash, and number twos were the larger ones. So we're ready to go in the oven with our stuffed squash. I'm going to bake them for about 20 minutes, and when they get done, I'll come back and show you. Our stuffed squash have baked for 20 minutes on 375 degrees, and now they're ready to come out of the oven. Okay, our baked stuffed summer squash are out of the oven. I hope you'll try some real soon. It's just a different way of preparing squash and enjoying it with your family and your friends. So here, let's taste and see how delicious this is going to be. It's pretty too, isn't it? Just gonna cut that like that. That's a winner. I'll see you again really soon.